WooCommerce 6.0 dropped. Now, the reason why we're shooting this video is this is partially for our own customers, but also for anybody who just in general has a WooCommerce store and wants to know the best way to upgrade to WooCommerce 6.0. If you click on that email, you're going to see stuff that looks like this. Click on the link for lowdown on 6.0. Now, to somebody who's not a geek like me or is not a developer, this really doesn't mean a lot. So I'm going to kind of explain this to you and what this entails. If you are not one of our customers, or if you're just curious, you may have seen like there's an update waiting for you and it says update to 6.0. Here's the best way to handle this. Number one, if you're one of our customers, we handle all your updates for you. Don't worry about it. If you are self-hosted or you have a different web developer, you can ask them about it. Before you do any updates of any kind on your website, you always want to make sure you have a recent backup. Matter of fact, pull a backup right before you do updates. It's not often, but occasionally there are problems during the update process where of any plugins or any software, including your cell phones, your home computer, or anything else, where things sometimes can go wrong. So you always want to have a backup. I've been in the world of information technology for over 20 years, and I can tell you this. The one time you don't pull a backup is the one time you're going to have problems. If you pull backups, it's like an insurance policy, and the karma of the universe just works together, and it's going to go smooth. It's going to work great. Now, that said, unless you have a very basic WooCommerce store, like it is WooCommerce out of the box and you don't have a lot of third-party plugins, or you are only using plugins that are authorized by WooCommerce, like through the WooCommerce store, don't update right away. And that may sound counterintuitive, but in the world of information technology, which is where my background is in, no major company's IT department installs updates when they come out. Ever. It's a recipe for a disaster. Because software is very complex, it's written by very large teams and it interacts with a bunch of other software and hardware components. You may go, my website doesn't involve hardware. Well, yeah, it does. It involves your servers and everything else that goes on that your hosting company is managing. So updates should really be tested, and in particular this case. So if you go, we're going to go back to this screen. If you look, I have the update version. This is version 6.0.1. And in this scenario, this is just the demo site of ours. We're upgrading from version 5.2.1. So this demo version was a few versions behind. But these numbers mean things. This first number is the version update. Okay, this means there's been 5 major releases for WooCommerce, and this would be the 6th major release. The second number indicates things like new functionality and fixes that have come out. These are minor updates. They're important, but they should always be tested. Okay, but they usually typically add new functionality or minor functionality, or they're big bug fixes. The third version stands for Cosmetic Updates or security patches. These are updates that you can, if it's ever a version update where it's this last number, you can typically update freely. It doesn't have any chance to break stuff. They're either fixing a security hole or it's a slight cosmetic change, like maybe a color was wrong and they're releasing this update. Rule of thumb in the world of information technology, when it is a core piece of software, like WooCommerce in an e-commerce store, and it's going from a version, like version 5 to version 6, never, ever, 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 ever be the first people who do that update. Let other people around the world are going to install and run this update right away, and this is what's going to happen. Number one, no matter how much testing the WooCommerce team did or any software company did, there's going to be things that slip through the crack. We're humans, we make mistakes, we don't always catch everything. Okay, so you want to let everybody else be a beta tester. Let them all be beta testers. This is a major version update. It's not typically going to be fixing security holes or bugs. That's what that third digit is. Okay, so you want to make sure if something that's core to your business gets upgraded or improved, it's going to continue to work forever. So when it's a major version update, we typically recommend waiting at least 2 weeks. Wait 2 weeks before you even think about doing that update version, because it's going to have several effects. Number one, all the plugins that work with WooCommerce that are maybe developed by a third-party developer, they should have been testing updates all along and making sure they're compatible, but it doesn't always happen, or maybe they missed their deadline. This gives them an opportunity to test their software to make sure it works, or release any updates for their software to make sure it's compatible. Number two, it lets all those other people around the world who are going to update first find bugs that slipped through during testing. Okay, typically what you're going to see over the next 2 weeks, you are going to see these next two numbers go up in some way, shape, or form. It is very rare you have a major version update and you don't have like a .1 or a .2 release come out after, or maybe somebody finds a security hole. So maybe within a week there might be version 6.0.1 or .2. Hey, so it gives some time for those buffers to go through. The third and most important piece of any major update is testing it, and testing it in a staging environment. Now, if you might go, what's a staging environment? A staging environment is a copy of your website that is hidden from the public, it is hidden from search engines, and it's where you can test and break things to your heart content without affecting your public site. If you're doing a major design overhaul, testing new functionality, testing big updates, that is where you can do it safely and securely. Now, if you are with a good managed WordPress host like WP Engine through a partnership with Flywheel, so you'd be hosting with us, or you'd be self-hosting with your own Flywheel account, they have built-in staging environments that you can refresh or set up with a click of a button. So if you're hosting with us, we always have a staging site created for you where it's major updates. We're going to test them for you, so you don't have to worry about it. You can just go back to running your business because we're handling all the tech. If you're self-hosted, make sure your webmaster has some kind of staging environment where they're testing this stuff. Once it's been tested, then it's and verified that it's working in that staging environment, then you can safely and securely do it on your main website. This way, your website is always running 24/7, 365. Now, let's get to the updates. What's new in 6.0? New WooCommerce blocks. This only applies to you if you're using the Gutenberg page editor. If you're a BBS customer, we're not using Gutenberg for our customers. We're using Beaver Builder on our sites because it's very fast, it's very lightweight, and it can do just about anything. Elementor is also incredibly good. Beaver Builder and Elementor are like right here at the top of the stack. Elementor spends a whole lot more money on marketing than Beaver Builder does because they had a deal with a venture capitalist within the last 2 years. But Beaver Builder is actually faster and a little bit more lightweight, which is why we use Beaver Builder. But they're both really good. The Woocommerce Admin, there are some updates to the Woocommerce Admin side, some cosmetic updates, different changes to things. It's going to be a little bit faster. But if you're used to using the Woocommerce Admin side, there's nothing major. The product attribute filtering. This primarily affects those who have variable products. If you don't know what a variable product is and you have a WooCommerce store, you shouldn't have to worry about it. But a variable product is, say you're selling t-shirts and you sell a black crew neck t-shirt, but it has variations of small, medium, large, extra large, double extra large, and it comes in different colors. Those are variations. Previously, some of the internal filtering options that you could have like in your sidebar for people to filter products didn't filter them correctly. Where, say for example, you were out of stock in your blue crew neck t-shirt, but you had black ones. Those blue ones might still show up in a search. This product filtering update should be fixing all of that. And finally, this one doesn't sound like much to anybody, but this is the part that gets me most excited. The rate table limit. This is a back-end database thing. WooCommerce used to store a lot of stuff, for example, in the WP options table, which is used by everything. Basically, it means if you have a high traffic site with a lot of products, things could sometimes get slow. This offloads that stuff to its own table, which is independent of the WP options table. Long story short, it's going to make things faster. This is a good thing. Speed is always important. I'm really happy that WooCommerce addressed this. because WooCommerce is such a major player in the e-commerce field, and people do have very busy e-commerce sites, and they have e-commerce sites with thousands of products. This should make things faster. So that's what's in the update. As far as updates go, if you're a BBS customer, a pre-built sites customer, we're going to take care of updating you within the next 2 weeks. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be tested. Everything's going to be smooth. If you are not hosted with us, talk to your webmaster before you run these updates, or listen to the advice I gave earlier in this video so everything goes smooth. Thanks for watching.